Hey everyone, welcome. Tonight's live video is super amazing. Again, this is your host, Demi. Welcome to the Facebook page. This is Rise to Influence. Tonight's guest is super awesome, and I would say that I owe this man one because it's currently 4 a.m. where he lives. He's currently in California, and I'd like to introduce him to you properly. He's actually a pastor for 10 years, a loving husband to his wife Laura, and a great father to two of his almost grown children. In his professional life, he is a founder of Rise Up Creatives and Rise Up Business Academy, and the high caliber host of Inspiration Rising, the podcast. So please help me welcome David Trotter. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's great to be with you. Yeah, it's an honor.
Thank you so much for coming in here in 4 a.m. You're awesome. I already told you this via email, but I just really want to thank you again. I'm super grateful for the time that you're spending in here. And if there's anything that I found out during my research before this interview is that we both love the word rise. We have Create and Rise, and this segment is called Rise to Influence. You have Rise Up Creatives and Rise Up Business Academy. Can you tell me a little bit about why do you love the word rise as much as I do?
Well, I mean, it just means to elevate. You know what I mean? It means to get above the challenges, above the problems. And I think for many of us in our everyday lives and in our businesses, it can be so easy to get caught in the overwhelm of what's happening in the moment. And if we can rise above it, we can get kind of a bird's eye view or even a divine view of kind of looking upon it and seeing things. And it causes calm, causes a reduction in stress, and then we can get a fresh perspective.
Awesome. Like in my case, I think that rise is about new beginnings. So when the sun rises, it's like a new day, new opportunities, new beginnings. That's what it is for me. But yeah, that's what it is with the word rise. I just think it's awesome that we both have that rise word in all our stuff. So there's that. Now, David, the reason why I wanted you to come in here is because I feel like you're the right person to talk to when it comes to hiring people. And one of the things that I cannot forget is after the interview that we have done together, when you wanted me to be in your podcast, you mentioned that you're having a Filipino team. So that's awesome. That was the first time that I was like, okay, like, that's cool that his team actually told him to interview me. That one of the things that really struck me the most. But before we go to that route, I think that it's best for us to also have a background of what you do, what are your experiences when it comes to building an agency. Can you take us back to the time when you started?
Yeah, so just quick background. I was actually, as you mentioned, a pastor for over 10 years. And about 13 years ago, I really discovered that I was a workaholic. You know, people were telling me I was a workaholic, but I experienced that. And I had a staff here in the United States as a pastor of about a dozen people. But I ended up hitting kind of a rock bottom moment about 13 years ago. And I ended up transitioning out of full-time ministry, and I started a marketing agency. And the marketing agency was built for businesses here in the United States to provide branding, graphic design, videography, photography, web development, and so forth. And it was a six-figure business for over 12 years. And I also produced and directed 4 feature films on social justice issues over the last decade as well. So I've had a hand in a lot of different things. But in early 2019, I wanted to start doing more business consulting and podcasting. And so my wife and I looked at kind of the past 25 years of my involvement in ministry and marketing and movies, and the people that I most connected with and most influential with were women. And so I started a podcast for women. Actually, it's kind of unique, but we feature female entrepreneurs and leaders on Inspiration Rising, and I primarily coach what I would call soul-inspired coaches and online entrepreneurs, people that have some sort of soul inspiration. So how's my connection, by the way? I know I'm a little jerky on my end of the screen. Can you hear me okay? Are we okay?
Yeah, I can hear you totally fine.
Okay, good. So so then, as I started Inspiration Rising and Rise Up Business Academy, I began to think about what would it look like for me to get some support here and there. And I initially hired some support via Upwork for
Mm.
some guys in Pakistan. And they were great individuals and some great help with some graphic design. Also hired them from some social media support. And that did not go so well, which we can talk about. But about, well, during the middle of the pandemic, I had already edited probably 120 plus episodes of my podcast on my own. And I was getting to the point where I was thinking, okay, this is what got me in trouble when I had my burnout experience last time, is trying to do everything on my own because I was afraid to delegate or um, was nervous about the deliverables, people not doing things the way that I would want them to be done. But I finally was like, okay, I've got to reach out for some help. And so that's when I developed a relationship with someone in the Philippines and started to develop a team from there. And things went really well for me during the pandemic, and still love working with my team there in the Philippines. And I've learned a lot in the process.
How many people do you have in your team that are Filipinos?
Well, uh, I have had one, two, three, four, five, six total, and right now I work closely with three, but I
Mm.
can access the other, actually seven. There were seven, and I can access those other three or four whenever I need. But right now I only work on a day-to-day basis with about three.
Okay, so the stuff that they usually do are what, like graphic design, editing your podcast? What are the things that they usually do?
Yeah, administrative support, graphic design, podcast editing, video editing, and even just kind of brainstorming. Hmm.
I see. All right, so when you hired those people from the Philippines, how did you start? Can you take us through the process? You mentioned that you know someone from the Philippines who has connections. Is that how you did
Yeah,
it?
well, it's a very, very interesting, I would say just serendipitous experience. I went on Upwork and I put out the, post, and of course got, 100 responses, and I filtered through them in my own way. And there was one application that stood out from among the many. And the woman's name was Phoebe Rotacchio. And
Mm.
uh, I thought, oh, this looks interesting. And so I can't remember if I think I might have requested an audio interview with her, voice to voice. I really prefer speaking with someone, especially when I'm first getting to know them. And we can talk about why. But she did just an incredible job from the very beginning. And it turns out that she was, I would say, over skilled in what she was doing. She has her own wedding photography business there in Manila, and so her business was down so much during the pandemic that she
Oh,
just
I
wanted some
see.
extra money. And so this was a way for her to do that. Well, because she's so connected in the wedding videography business, she already had friends and family members that had all of these different skills that I needed. So and we had similar values as just human beings. So I felt like, oh my gosh, I've just hit the jackpot. Like this is amazing. And she's really become a friend now.
I see. I remember there was one person who shared your teaser earlier. So earlier this morning, we shared your teaser. She's one of the people that shared it, and she wrote a really long post about it. And I thought that's amazing. It's very interesting to know. I was surprised that her name was the one that you mentioned. So that was fun. What are the main perks and challenges of having a remote team per se? Because a lot of people, when it comes to hiring, they usually want, like, the way I see it, a lot of my US clients then did not immediately shift into remote work if it weren't for the pandemic. So, what are the perks and stuff that you like so much about having a remote team?
Oh, well, one thing I love that they're getting done things when I'm asleep. And that's exciting because I feel like I wake up and I'm like, oh, look at this. I feel like I just got a jump start on the world. This is amazing. I'm working in my sleep now. This is every workaholic's dream, you know? So now, of course, there's the challenges of the time differences, and all of that. But I would say that that's the big one is that, something's happening while I am resting. And the one that, no one can deny in the United States is that a US dollar would go farther in the Philippines than it would in the US. There's no way that I could work with 3 or 4 people in the United States and afford that, rate. There is some, I would call it debate in the United States on whether it's ethical to hire people in other countries because of like, oh, you could be hiring that person in the United States for $25 or $30 an hour versus $5 to $10 an hour or $15 an hour in the Philippines. And the way that I look at it is we are a global family, in a lot of ways. Like we are the human race. Like I am learning more and more that, people that live in certain countries, we just live in our kind of cultural bubble, especially people in the United States. And the more that we can see the whole world as we're working together, and I have found that if I can pay somebody more than they would make in their own country, that I'm actually helping them in a lot of ways. So I don't know. That's it's a challenging issue from some people in the United States, but I have found that the benefits are wonderful.
I agree. And I think that as a US client, I'm not a US client, but I've worked with clients before from the US, and I really kind of feel them when it comes to that kind of perspective, that they really want to help people in the Philippines. And also, that's part of my mission as a Filipino, teaching them how to be worth what they should be so that they can charge what they're worth, right? So apart from that, David, you mentioned earlier that you hired someone from Pakistan and that didn't work so well. I'm curious, why didn't it not work? Because there might be some things that we can get out from it or things that we shouldn't be doing so that we can get hired by clients.
Yeah. I forgot to mention, I actually have a team in India that works on
Ah,
web development stuff too, that I have right now, and I've been working with them over the last year. But the guys in Pakistan, first of all, just did a great job in terms of graphic design, taking direction, having connection, all of these things. And the unique thing about Pakistan is because of the economy, oftentimes somebody in the U.S. can hire someone there for even less expensive. So I think I was paying like $3 an hour, which is just crazy in the United States. But a lot of people, I will tell you, the term, the name Pakistan is not seen as a positive thing in the United States. It feels kind
yeah.
of scary to work with somebody in Pakistan from the US perspective. But I was game for it. It's like, let's go. I've been to India a lot in my life doing a lot of humanitarian work. And so I've been there about 10 times. And so India and Pakistan, they're not friendly neighbors, but they're neighbors. And so anyway, um, I thought, okay, if I could have some support on social media and I could grow my social media faster, and this is like over 2 years ago, they could do liking, they could do commenting on my behalf, and this would be amazing. So I gave them direction on who my target audience was. I said my audience is women, kind of
Mhm.
30 to 60 years of age, who are looking for support in their life and business. And so this gentleman said, I've got a friend who needs some work. Would you mind hiring him to do this social media, work? I said, sure. And so he went off to the races, and I woke up the next morning and I had noticed that he was commenting on photos, women's photos that featured their little kids, like little boys. All right. And he
Mm.
is saying, oh, how beautiful. What a sweet little boy. Another picture is like, um, uh, this boy is the prettiest boy I've ever seen, something like this. Okay, in the United States, this comes off like you're a pedophile, like you're trying to get the, and I was like, I mean, I could not find all those comments fast enough and delete them. I was just like, oh my gosh. Now, what I know to be true, because it's the same thing in India, for men to say that about little boys is totally normal, totally culturally appropriate in India. And I'm like, it must be the same thing in Pakistan. They're talking, delete, 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 delete. You know, I was so freaked out. So I was like, okay, I'm never doing that again. If anybody's gonna, you know, do any commenting on my social media, it must be my actual target audience, you know, a woman who knows what I'm talking about here in the United States. So I have
Yeah.
not done that again.
That was a very fun experience. So what was your kind of like action plan after that? When the Pakistan dude did not work out, what were the things that you did to kind of get back up after that kind of scenario?
Well, I ended up not looking for support in terms of social media. I
Oh,
continued doing the graphic design support for a while. And then I made some shifts in my business, and I just decided this felt too overwhelming. It didn't feel like a good enough fit. And so I ended up just taking it all back on myself. And I did everything myself for probably another year or so. And that's when
mm,
I got to the place where I felt like I can't grow my business if I'm going to continue to do everything myself. And that is the biggest marketing, you know, angle for anybody starting as a virtual assistant, you know, is helping people recognize that they can save time and save money by getting help. They will actually make money if they get your help. And so the more you can help your potential client in the United States or, you know, anywhere see that they will make more money by hiring you, that's ultimately what they want to hear. I want to make more money and save time.
thank you so much. That's a really good advice. That's basically solving the problem right there. So the people who are watching, especially my students, there's your answer. I've been telling you for a very long time to always go out there as service providers, keep solving problems for your clients. There you have it, right? So apart from that, David, I also want to get into what you mentioned earlier, wherein you want to get into a voice call or an audio call with the people that you're wanting to hire rather. Can you share to us a little bit about that kind of process? Why do you want to get in a call with them? What are the questions that you usually ask? You know, that kind of stuff.
Now, I may be unique in this, all right? Now, I'm also a little bit older, so I'm 48. So I remember actually utilizing this device as a phone. Like this thing does make voice-to-voice calls, for those of you who don't, you know. Uh, and so I like to have this sense that I'm talking to a real person. They understand what I'm looking for. I can hear by the tone of their voice whether they're saying yep, 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 just like they're saying yes to try to get the deal versus
Mm,
like I really hear in the sound of their voice that they understand. And are they asking me a clarifying question? Because that helps me know that they're going after the details. I can also hear in their tone of voice if they have a sense of urgency, like that they would be on top of this. Um, and I can also ask them for an example of when they've worked on a similar project and how it went for them. It just makes me feel like I can trust them so much more if I can hear the sound of their voice. I also would say that in the people that I work with, sometimes um, rather than typing out all these instructions, I want to get on the phone with them real quick on Facebook Messenger or Zoom and just talk through something and go, do you understand that? Do you get it? Because taking that 5 minutes to get on the phone could save me 24 to 48 hours of going back and forth on some sort of revisions.
mm,
And and plus, now I'm unique in this, but I want the people that I work with, I want a genuine connection and relationship with them because I just feel like if they know that I care about them and that I'm not just hiring them to do something, that they will actually have a better life. Number one, they'll feel like they actually enjoy what they're doing, so they're going to have a better life. Two, they're going to do a better job on whatever it is that I'm asking them to do. And three, hopefully we'll continue to work like long term together, so that there really seems like there's a sense of connection. So the people that I work with, I mean, I appreciate them, all the time, and thank them regularly, because I am very appreciative. Um, and it also makes it, when I need to make some sort of revision or correction, that they know that I'm not just being a pain in the butt. Like I'm like, we're on the same team. You know what I mean? I just like, I need it changed though. I need a little different direction. And they know that I'm doing that, not to make their life harder or, more difficult, that we're on the same team. We're going after the same goal. And I try to keep them up to date on, like, hey, here's the direction of my business. Here's how I'm changing. Here's what's happening. That could only happen by initially starting with that voice call. Now, I've had some people on Upwork turn me down from a voice interview, and it's because they felt uncomfortable with their English. And so I knew, okay, well, this is not a good fit for me, and that's okay, and I move on. But the key is just to point out the things that I'm looking for in that process. One, the clarity of their English, the sense of urgency, like, are they on top of things? How much work do they already have? Do they have room for me? Do they ask clarifying questions rather than just assuming that they know or assuming that they can figure it out? And do they have specific examples of what they have done that was similar to this? And I want them to be honest with me, to say, I'm not sure how to do that, but I'm willing to learn. And so, for instance, my virtual assistant, who I work with day in and day out, I know that he isn't 100% proficient at video editing, but I know that he can kind of figure it out. And so the way I look at it is, well, if I want a big video editing job, I know that I've got somebody that I can turn to, and she's incredible. But on a quick day-to-day basis turnaround, if I can work with the same person, and he can not only do my podcast editing and some virtual assisting and do the quick little videos, well, that makes it easier for me because I'm just working with the same person. And I'm actually helping him develop a skill that he can use for the rest of his life, right? So I feel like I'm investing in him to grow him as an individual. Now, you also can be fearful of, wow, if they get all these skills, they may leave me and they not want to work with me anymore. But you know what? That's okay, because ultimately I want what's best for him. And I just know that if I'm building into him and helping him, that's going to come back to benefit me, whether it's with him or somebody else. But I just want to help him in the process. So,
yeah, thank you so much for that. That was super loaded of a statement. And I'd like to emphasize one of the things that David has mentioned, which is honesty. So there are a lot of times, or basically the things that I receive on my email or on Facebook Messenger, it's usually just, people saying that, hey, my client told me to do this, but I don't know how to do it. What am I going to say? And it's like, to me, it's the first thing that's going to come out of my mouth is, of course, just tell him that you can't do it. Like, just be honest instead of trying to pretend that you actually know how to do the work. So that's super important. And people are actually commenting, David, if you have noticed, that they're saying, like, David, these types of clients like you are, it's super hard to find. Can we clone you? They are saying, can we clone you? Because these clients are super, which I truly agree with also, because I've been with a couple of clients in the past few years, and I've only worked with super awesome clients only a few times, so I could totally relate. But anyway, at one point or another, you really are going to find your dream client. So yeah, there's that. I guess one of the questions, yes.
Well, I just wanted to talk about that if you don't know how to do something,
Mm,
because um, I think that's really frustrating for somebody in the US if they don't know or it comes back as like subpar, in terms of quality.
yeah.
So I would say to be honest, to say I'm willing to learn.
Mm,
I've even paid for him. I will say, hey, I want to give you X number of hours to learn how to do this, thing, whatever it is. And so, he'll take that 5 hours or 10 hours or whatever it is and just learn, to do something. And I'm like, that's totally fine. Um, the other thing that I would say in getting clarification is that don't just assume that you know exactly what that client wants. One of the
mm,
things that when I'm working with people, if I'm doing work or if my virtual assistant is doing something, I always try to provide an example. Like, here's what I kind of want it to look like. And then it's your responsibility. It's not the client's responsibility. I wish they would all, give you clarity, but it is your responsibility to ask, what is it about this that you like? What is it
mm,
about this that you don't like? Do you want the font different? Do you want the colors different? Do you want certain things justified right, left, center? I mean, all of those questions you have to get up front rather than trying to read the client's mind. The more questions you can ask, the better. And so by having that client provide an example of whatever it
mm,
is, whether it's graphic design, website, photography, videography, um, text writing, whatever it is, getting an example is absolutely key. And then asking lots of clarifying questions up front. That will, number one, that'll make that US client feel like, wow, they really want to do a good job. Two, that they have a sense of urgency. It's going to cut down on revisions. I think it's just going to make them feel so much better. And if they're thrown off or they don't like you asking all those questions, then they might not be the client for you. Because they might want you to feel like they just want you to read your mind, they
mm.
read their mind, and that just doesn't end up working well for anybody. So sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I actually really like that insight. And I've had those experiences also wherein I had to read the client's mind. So I totally relate on that one. I do have a question though. When it comes to audio calls or video calls or whatever that is, in the freelancing world, we call it discovery or negotiation calls. Can you smell a person's desperation that he or she needs the job? So when you get into video calls like that, there are some instances wherein the person that you are talking to, the person that you're wanting to hire, sounds super desperate. How do you go about that? And is that something that you would still be okay with? Is that a red flag to you? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, almost every one of those calls I've been on, the person sounded desperate. Um, and so I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. As long as I can sense in their voice, there's a sense of urgency. So oftentimes that desperation does bring up a sense of urgency, and I'm okay with that. Like, that's great. That means they're a hustler. They want to, they want to do a good job. But I also want to make sure that they can do the job. So that's where, I'll ask probably some more questions, like some examples, of their work or something like that. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I would say that the person that comes off as a little bit more laid back or aloof,
Mm,
that's the person that makes me nervous. That's the person that I don't want to work with, because I feel like I'm going to be on the bottom of their, pile of work. You know what I mean? And I don't want that. So I would rather someone that comes off a little desperate. A lot of, I wouldn't call it desperate. I would call it a sense of urgency. Like, hey, I'm ready to start. Like, how can I help you? And I have had multiple people. I wouldn't, I know this may not be something that you approve of. So I don't want to suggest this, but I have had people on Upwork be willing to do things for me for free in order to prove themselves. And I don't, I mean, that's okay. I don't mind paying people for a few hours to see if it's going to work out. But I also, I have had people do database entry kind of stuff, and it comes back with the whole thing like done or transcription. And I was like, wow, okay, they did this. And I have hired someone based on that to do that. So that can work, but it can also, well, I guess I would say if I was just starting out and I had all the time in the world and I had no clients, I would do work for free. I would. And I have done work for free in my marketing agency. I would do work for free in order to get testimonials, in order to get my name out there. But if I wouldn't do that long term. I would only do that in the beginning in order to get the ball rolling, and in order to get some good testimonials. I would say we have not talked about this, but testimonials are very helpful, especially if I can see that the person actually lists their business name, if they're willing to do that, because I
Mm.
will sometimes go to their website or I'll go to their business and make sure it's legitimate, and I can see who the person is on LinkedIn. I could even follow up with them if I needed to. Um, and man, I never see this. I never see this in the VA world. But if you could get video testimonials from your clients, that would really, I've never even seen that before, but I would be more sold on you than anybody else if I saw a video testimonial.
I hope that people are taking notes. That's all I can say after that. Like, I really hope that people who are watching this are taking notes, because these are super important. That reminds me, one of my students, I saw one of her video testimonials yesterday. She's a Kajabi designer, if you're familiar with Kajabi. She does that a lot, like just, doing all these tech stuff. And I saw her Instagram story wherein her client just raved about her, and I was like, oh, I wished I've done that before. This is awesome. But anyway, yes, that's super awesome. I love the video testimonial idea. One more question. Going back to the video call thing, because this is one of like the most important things that a lot of people always ask about is, if a person is not comfortable with their English. So every single time I get this question, hey, Ms. Demi, I cannot apply, or I cannot send a portfolio to this person because I'm just not comfortable in English. You mentioned how you have sort of like got declined because they're not comfortable with English. What are your advice, or what is your advice rather, in terms of people who are super scared in their English proficiency, and what can they do about it?
Yeah. Well, I would say it depends on the type of job that you're applying for. So if it is something that does not require writing a lot, if it's database work, or if it's graphic design, perhaps, I'm less concerned about it. I personally just like to be able, if I'm going to work with somebody long term, I like to be able to have a relationship with them, and, you know, like it or not, like that would be the only way I would be able to communicate with them, is because I only speak English. Um, so I would say I'd encourage you to become more proficient in English. I mean, your business is going to grow without a doubt. The more you learn English, the more your business is going to grow. And you will find people who are not like me, who don't want to speak to you on the phone. A lot of
Mm,
people, especially a younger person in the United States, they don't even like speaking on the phone to their own mom and dad. So you're good to go.
me.
Like they, you'll never have to speak to them on the phone. You know what I mean? They hate speaking on the phone. So, you're fine. You know what I mean? Just target people that are younger than 35 probably, and you'll be good to go. But I would say that the more you can, have that proficiency and feel that confidence, the better you'll be. And just like I would say in any country, if I if I see someone who's trying and they're doing their best with their uh, English skills, and even if they just up front go, "Hey, I'm still just learning English. If you could just be patient with me, I'm still just getting proficient," like that, I have to realize I go, I only speak one language. Like I only speak one language, Demi. I'm the one who's the moron here. Like I was laughing with Phoebe one time because somebody I was working with in the Philippines was writing something, and I will say the English usage of writing is very different in the Philippines than it is in the United States. It does not
That's true.
flow. It's just very different. Even if it's all English words, I'm just like, wow, it sounds like kind of herky jerky, like it doesn't like just flow. And I was like, I was getting frustrated at first. I'm like, God, this just doesn't sound right. And I get kind of
Mm.
frustrated, and I'm like, why am I getting frustrated as this person? Because I only speak one language. I can't even speak one word of Tagalog. And I'm getting frustrated that he, or she can't like put together paragraphs of English. Ay, ay, ay. So,
I remember that just reminded me how my fiance also hired someone to do a blog post for him, and he had the same exact reaction. And he was like, I can't, because, we've been talking to each other for the past 4 or 5 years, and I guess the way I speak in English now is completely different compared to other people. So when he saw someone wrote that blog post, he went like, did I make the wrong decision? So I could totally relate. I get where you're coming from. Totally fine. Anyway, so I also have one question. This is a selfish personal one, because I've also gotten into a point wherein I needed to fire people. So of course hiring comes, I guess it's a little bit easy for me, but the firing part is a little bit difficult. So I would ask, number one, what are the things that you are on a lookout for when you are trying to fire someone? Like, what are the deal breakers for you, and how do you actually approach them when that happens?
yeah. Number one is attitude. Does this person want to do a good job? Are they trying to do a good job? Um, because if they are not enjoying the job, they might be dragging their feet. They might be late. They might be having a little attitude.
Mm.
They, all of those types of things. So, what's their attitude like? First of all, the second is, are they asking clarifying questions, or are they just trying to figure it out on their own? Um, and then uh, sometimes it's just not a good fit, even just personality wise, for whatever reason. And all of those things are okay. Like I just go, this person, they're going to find a better fit for their skills and their personality in another individual,
Mm.
or maybe they need to feel the pain of losing a client in order to look in the mirror and ask themselves, wow, what do I need to do to make changes in my life or my work? And that's okay, right? They're going to land on their feet. And so it's as simple as saying, hey, I really appreciate the work that you've done for me. And I like how you've done this, that, and the other. So I want to affirm that and let them know that I do appreciate that. But I also feel like that in other aspects of our work together, it's not a good fit. And I feel like at this point, I'm going to need to move on and have you wrap up this project, or today you're done, or whatever it might be. So for me, the best way of getting into it is to say, it's just not a good fit anymore. And the reason
Oh.
why I say that is because all of the natural thing that people are going to say is, "Tell me why. Tell me what I didn't right." And frankly, I don't want to get into that, because even though I could say, "Well, I'm going to help them by giving them this feedback or that feedback," oftentimes it ends up becoming they can become defensive, and it becomes like this back and forth of, well, no, you said, I said, we said, all of
Mm.
that. And I'm willing to have that conversation before I let someone go. So for instance, if an assistant or somebody that I'm working with did something and I say, hey, I need you to do this, or I needed this to be changed, if they came back and said, hey, that's not a problem at all, I will totally make that happen. I had a different expectation going into it. So can I just share what my expectations were? Because I want to make sure that this doesn't happen again, that we're on the same page. And so it's clarifying those expectations up front. All right. And so in the United States, that's called managing upward. So
Mm.
in the same way that I manage, not that I look at people as below me, but just like in a hierarchy of work. Um, how do I manage upward? So it's my assistant's responsibility in some ways to manage me and say, um, David, I didn't quite understand that. Can I ask you this question? David, my expectations, I'm not sure they're the same. Can I answer that? Right? That's him managing upward. And that will ultimately help a good working relationship continue to go. So I'm willing to have those back and forths prior to that moment. But if we get into that place where it's not a good fit, I'm not going to articulate the why, because
Mm,
it's just going to end up being messy. And even when I let people go in the United States, I don't get into it. And I will tell you, in the United States, that actually can be a legal issue, because if you start giving people the reasons why, they might utilize that in court to say
against,
that you are let them go because of some sort of weird thing. You know what I mean? And they might twist your
wow,
words.
okay.
Not and not that people are being litigious, like it's not that. It's just safer just to say, "Hey, I really appreciate all your work. It's not a good fit anymore. I wish you the best of luck," and move on.
Wow. That's all I can say. I actually did had to let go of someone from the team recently, and I felt like I needed to like explain myself. Like cuz I was so scared of hurting her in a way, but it wasn't really working because I really wanted to have a faster turnaround time. That was one of the deal breakers for me. Like I worked so fast, and I had to have my team keep up with me. And so when that was the issue, I had my project manager. You met Rebecca. She was the one who actually talked to that person. I didn't talk to her myself because I was so scared about hurting her. But then I ended up, after, we have decided it already, I had to come into Messenger and send her a voice note, and I still felt like I needed to explain things. But this was a really good insight, David. Thank you so much. I guess I'm going to do that next time. To just not, I guess it also makes sense to not just explain yourself, because as a business owner, you need to do business decisions that has to be away from anything that you have been feeling about or any emotion that is tied into that decision. So, yes.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard. It's the worst thing. I hate having to let people go. But most likely that person is feeling the stress of the working relationship themselves. And if they're not,
Mm,
you definitely need to let them go, because they're completely clueless that they're not performing at the level that you would want them to. So, but they're probably feeling that stress. And so oftentimes I have found that by letting them go, number one, they feel an incredible sense of relief, like, oh gosh, look, at least that's done. And number two, it allows them the opportunity to be stretched and grow and spread their wings and find that next step, because there's going to be a good fit for them. That's the thing that I always tell business owners, is that yes, it's painful to let people go, but that person is going to find a better fit for themselves in their next situation. And that's not your responsibility to find that for them. It's their responsibility, but they're going to find a better fit. And by you holding on to them and trying to make this relationship work, you're actually preventing them from finding that next best fit. So, hey, nudge them out of the nest, and they'll fly, or at least they'll land hard and get back up and try to fly again.
that's true. Appreciate the insight. Last question before we go to Q&A. What are the mindset things that, I guess we already have talked about the professional stuff, technical for the Filipinos out there who are wanting to land foreign clients. What are the mindset things that you wish to tell Filipinos, most especially coming from a country that isn't really doing well in sort of like economy? We kind of like got into a perspective that we're not worth so much, or we can't do enough, or we're not enough. What are the things that you want to tell us or Filipinos who are thinking that way?
Hmm. Well, I mean, one, I would be encouraging you to embrace what I would call your true identity. That your true identity isn't rooted in the fact that you live in the Philippines. It's not your what you do for a living. It's not the size of your house, the kind of car you drive, or, the clothes that you wear, or it's none of that stuff. It's the fact, my belief is that you were created by the divine or God or source or whatever you want to call this higher power, that created this universe, and that you have incredible value and worth just because you're alive and you've been created by God. That's where your value comes from, not from anything else, right? So first of all, embrace that and go, I am a valuable person just because of who I am. Okay. Now that you have that, recognize that you're always growing and learning in terms of your skills. And the more skills that you can add to your repertoire, and I'm not talking about just getting those certificates, because man, I have learned that you guys love those certificates, right? You guys, I have a bachelor's degree and I have a master's degree. I don't even know where the certificate is. Like, it's in a box somewhere. I don't even know.
Same.
So, so it's all about your skills. And so you can be learning those skills on a daily basis and growing and learning in that. That's what, not only your skills, your experiences, right, and your testimonials. So if you could almost see those three things around you, you go, okay, I'm grounded in the fact that I am loved, valued by the divine. That's where all my value comes from, not by what even people say about me. My value comes from who I am. Okay, great, got that. Now you have your skills, you have your experiences, and you have your testimonials. And if you saw those three buckets, and you had these three buckets around your desk, and you're putting in more skills every day, more experiences, and more testimonials. And the more those buckets fill up, the more you can charge, right? Because I will trust you more when you have more and more of those things. So the amount that you can charge is what the market will bear. So the amount that you can charge is not based on what your friend charges or what you saw somebody charge online. It's based on what the market will bear. And so I am not the person who's going to negotiate with people. Like, some people will negotiate, but I don't negotiate, because I feel like it's like, if you came to me and you said, I'm charging $10 an hour for this, and I go, you know what, will you do it for $5? Well, first of all, I'm going to assume that you're going to do $5 worth of work rather than $10 worth of work. And so now you're going to not perform at the same level. So I would just tell you whether I could afford you or not. And I would go, I appreciate that. But you are the one that determines what you are worth in terms of the marketplace, not in terms of your value, right? I believe that's determined by God, but in terms of the marketplace. And you can always test the waters by saying, for this project, it would be this much. And if you get turned down, oh, the market wouldn't bear that, right? Now, if you come back, I will tell you, if you come back to me and go, oh, no, wait, I'll do it for $6. I'll do it for $6. I don't like that. I don't like that. Because now you're playing with me. Okay. And now I also know that next time around, if you tell me 6, I probably could get it for 4. And now it doesn't feel like we're operating on the same playing field. Now it feels like we're kind of like jockeying for position on pricing. I don't like that. So hey, whatever your price is for this project, great. I could come back to you. It could be a different price for the next project, and that's okay. But I don't know. Is that helpful? I feel like I'm rambling now.
I really like it. I love everything that you have said so far, and I think it's valuable. Like I said, to the people who are watching, I hope that you're taking notes on this, or at least watch this over and over again to, get your mind into things. So there you have it. Before we proceed to the Q&A, I guess, guys, to the people who are watching, kindly comment your questions if you have anything for David that he hasn't answered yet. I don't want David to keep on saying the same exact things, Like, if we have already discussed it in previous parts of this live video, I would appreciate it if you have new questions at this time. And while we are waiting for questions, I guess one thing that I would ask you is, tell us about Rise Up Creatives before we do the demo reel after the Q&A. What is Rise Up Creatives? What do you want to share with people? what's the mission statement, vision statement of that business that you have? Can you share to us what that is? Yeah.
Absolutely. First of all, I want to encourage people to listen to several interviews on Inspiration Rising podcast. So if
Yes.
you go to Inspiration Rising on any podcast app, I have interviewed, I think, 5 or 6 incredible female Filipino entrepreneurs, including Demi Bernice, Phoebe Ritacchio, Vivian Begornia, Adette Perto. That episode is coming out on Monday, and Nian Elio, some incredible women. So check that out. Rise Up Creatives was started because my um, business clients around the globe were having challenges going, what do I post on social media? How do I post? What do I come up with? And so what we did was we created a content creation platform. And Rise Up Creatives is designed to help you stand out on social media, increase engagement, and make more money. And we provide a platform with hundreds of drag and drop graphic design templates that are similar to Canva, but some people have told us that it's even easier than Canva. And all of the graphic design tools are designed for online entrepreneurs. And specifically, they have a little bit of a female kind of flair to them. All right. They're everything from social media images, podcast images, Facebook headers. There are lead magnets, workbooks, all of those sort of things. Now, I will tell you that if you want to use this platform for you to work with clients, I am totally okay with that. All right. So you can utilize this and create things for your clients. Now, we access that one person accesses an account at a time. So don't be like sharing accounts, trying to take my measly $25 out of my pocket now. Come on now. This is a very low cost platform at only $25 a month. And we provide 31 lifestyle photos and 31 customizable captions for social media each and every month. And I will tell you that all of the photos and all of the graphics have been created by my team in the Philippines. So the more you support this website, the more you're supporting your own people that live in the Philippines, because I love my team there. So anyway, you can check it out, riseupcreatives.com/Demi. Demi is one of our brand ambassadors. So if you go to riseupcreatives.com/Demi, you'll get a 7-day free trial where it will cost you absolutely nothing. Then if you want to keep using it after the 7 days, it's $25 a month. We do 2 business workshops per month in that platform as well. So you'll see a little demo for it. I really encourage you to stick around. I just do a 10-minute demo of the website, and I think you'll be blown away by its capabilities. So.
All right, so before we go with the demo, we have one question that I've seen so far. This one comes from Mika Cruz. What is your thought process when you're picking between potential candidates? So this is when you're hiring and you have multiple options. How do you compare packages or offers?
Well, of course, I mean, the very first thing I'm looking at is money. How much is being charged for this? And then I'm going to look at the person's work. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm going to look at money. I'm going to look at their the way that they type the letter, the clarity of their English. I'm going to see if it's just a form letter or if they actually are. Now, if they're just regurgitating what I wrote, I'm kind of like, I want to see if I have a little bit of an understanding of it. And then I want to see previous examples that really are close to what I'm trying to do or as close as possible. And I'm going to look at their testimonials. So I'm looking at all those things, but first is money, second is English, third is examples. That's kind of the thing that I look at really quick. So, but I'm telling you, those video testimonials, man, if I saw that, that would be incredible. I've never seen that before.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I guess at this point, I'm going to show to you the demo that David created for us for Rise Up Creatives. You might want to check out this awesome software. I've been in it, and I would say that if I did not have any designer, I would have probably also gotten into this as well. So ladies and gentlemen, the demo for Rise Up Creatives.
The reason why we created Rise Up Creatives is because we wanted to help people just like you create beautiful, engaging content, whether that's content for social media, content for your website, content for lead magnets, workbooks, whatever it might be, in order to grow your following, increase engagement, and make more money online. And so I want to take you through a very quick tour of the website. This is what it looks like when you come to the website and you're logged in. And there are three main sections that I want to point out to you. All right, the first section is creating from a template. So similar to Canva, we have hundreds of templates that are designed for online entrepreneurs. And all of our templates are made within kind of a certain look or feel. So for instance, you'll notice this is the bright food template, and we have multiple images that fit within that design. You can scroll through all of the designs. You can go down here and increase the number of designs that you see per page, or you can come over here and click on social media, lead magnets, workbooks, media kits, headers, podcasts, slides. So we'll just click lead magnets, for instance. So these are multi-page 8.5:11 designed to be exported as a PDF as something that you could offer on your website in exchange for someone's email. So let's just take a look at this one. We'll click on 30 days of social media. Once again, all of the colors, all of the designs, all of the text can be modified by you. So you'll see over here on the right-hand side, this is a 4-page PDF. And I can go in here and I can change the color. I can change the text. I can move it around however I would want. And I can change even these items and change the colors. So it's very flexible in terms of adding more content, adding more pages, changing the content however you wish. When you are getting ready to export, and of course you can add different pages, click export. You can change the file name. You can export it as a PDF with all 4 pages. Or if you only wanted to export one page, you can export it as a JPEG or PNG. You can download it, and you can email it to yourself or to someone else. And once you edit any one of our templates, it gets added to your My Projects tab. So you'll notice these are all projects that I have modified just to be able to show people how to utilize them. And you can go back into the projects, you can duplicate them. You can, so if you want to keep making changes to it, you can just revise them, whatever you'd like. Obviously, you can replace the images. You can upload an image. You can access over 2 million images through our partnership with Unsplash, or you can use one of the curated images that we provide on our platform. These are all exclusive to Rise Up Creatives. And you can modify everything within these templates, and of course then add multiple pages if you want it to be a swipeable social media image or a PDF. All right, so that's the first thing that I want to draw to your attention are all of the templates. You can search as well. So let's just say I search for blogger, and I'll see all sorts of templates that are designed for bloggers. And I can go to the next page, and there are literally hundreds of templates. All right? All of these templates are designed for online entrepreneurs to be quick and easy to use. All right, you can also create something from a custom design. So if you wanted to do either print or digital, then you can start with a blank canvas, choose your size, all these different custom sizes, or you can do a custom size where you define the size itself. Or you can even do a custom shape. You can upload an SVG file to create stickers or whatever you might want to do. All right, so once I click on Instagram post 1080 by 1080, then I can come here and then I can upload my own images. I can access images from Unsplash. So let's just say I want to use this image. I'm going to set it as the background so it'll take up the entire square. And I can crop this, I can scale it. I can move it around however I want, and of course add text and whatever I might want to utilize. All right, so it's a very powerful tool. Similar to Canva, but we have been told it's a little easier to use than Canva, and all of our templates are designed for online entrepreneurs. Okay, so the next section that I want you to take a look at are our photos and captions. So not only do we want to help you create content for your website or for graphics like you had email headers or Facebook headers, any type of graphics that you might want, but we also want to provide you with 31 lifestyle images and 31 customizable captions each and every month. So this is our May 2021 release. Every month we provide a social media planning calendar. This is a PDF version that teaches you how to post one of the 7 top social media posts online. Through our training that you have access to the moment you sign up, you will learn about these top 7 posts: my life, my why, behind the scenes, inspirational life and business learnings, product, service, and benefits to you. And we teach you how to use this calendar. We also have a Google Sheet version of the calendar so that if you don't want to print the PDF and write in it, you can simply access the Google Sheet version and type right in the document. We also have every month 2 workshops that are business boosting workshops, and those recordings, first of all, the workshops are on Zoom, and then the recordings are featured in our private Facebook group. Now, I have specifically set these time-wise to be 5 p.m. my time in Southern California, which is 8 a.m. Philippine time. All right, so I always list those to make it easy for you. You keep scrolling down, and these are the 31 lifestyle images that you can have access to. So this one, I just click on it. It automatically downloads to my desktop. If I want to download all 5 images, I can click Download Images. Now, you also, in addition to these lifestyle images, have a caption that is written in our SSS method. Stop the scroll, serve with insights, and spark a conversation. Click Copy Caption. It's copied to your clipboard, and now you can drop it anywhere you'd want in order to edit the caption and then post it. It also is listed within the category. Remember I told you about those top 7 categories of social media posts? We categorize each and every one of them. So you can use the caption by itself, with your own image, or with one of our images. All of our images and all of our captions are completely proprietary to Rise Up Creatives. We have our own team of photographers that take every one of these photos. And so all of these photos are designed to be lifestyle images that could be utilized for a wide variety of different businesses. If you like the caption but don't prefer the photo, we have photo ideas as well below the images. And so each and every month we provide 31 new lifestyle images and 31 new customizable captions. You'll notice that you also can go back to a previous month and access those images so that, let's say you sign up today for a 7-day free trial, you have access to more than 31 images and captions. You have the previous months as well. Now, some of them may not be appropriate to this month because this was a holiday-oriented post, of course, but there are others that would be completely applicable to any month that you like. All right, so you've got the ability to create with custom templates, or customize our templates, custom designs, and you've got all the lifestyle images and photos that you can utilize on your social media however you wish, and you have access to our monthly workshops. We do 2 workshops per month. So like for the month of June, we've got a workshop that I'll be presenting. It's always on Wednesday morning, your time, 1st and 3rd Wednesdays. The riches are in the niches, choosing your ideal client, which I'll be teaching on Wednesday, June 2nd, 8 a.m. Filipino time. And then Kelsey Chapman will be teaching on how podcasts have supercharged my business, which is on Wednesday, June 16th. And you have access to the previous workshops in our private Facebook group, which is for the Rise Up Creatives community. Okay, so you can go back and watch those trainings. All right, so that is a quick overview of Rise Up Creatives. It is available to you for a 7-day free trial, absolutely free. If you go to riseupcreatives.com/free trial, riseupcreatives.com/free trial, And if you like what you see and you want to continue to use the resource, it's only $25 per month. $25 per month for all of these resources and for all of the training. So we believe that Rise Up Creatives is an incredible resource that goes far beyond what Canva offers, because we are offering a platform focused on content development for your website and your social media. If you have any questions at all, you're always welcome to reach out to me at david@riseupcreatives.com. All right, so check it out, riseupcreatives.com/free trial to get that 7-day free trial.
All right, thank you so much. That was the demo reel for Rise Up Creatives. Everyone, if you want to check it out, just look at the link of this video. We typed it in the description. And also, please check out David's podcast, Inspiration Rising. It's available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And you might want to really check it out. I would say, like, every time I listen to it, it's really like up there, high caliber. I love David's voice. I'm fangirling. And yeah, everything else, you can also look up Inspiration Rising Facebook page and Rise Up Creatives. So there you have it. David, is there anything else that you want us to know? Anything, any final words you want to say?
Yes, this is what I want to say. You guys all love Demi, all right? You love Demi and you love what she's doing. So one of the ways that you can give back to her is by spreading the word about what she's doing. So as someone who creates content online and wants to help people, because the reason why Demi got into this is, yes, she wants to make a living, but she wants to help the entire nation of the Philippines. Like, I know that about her. And so if you want to help her and say thank you as a way of giving back to her, is just literally just share what she does. So like, whenever you see a post, like it, comment, share. Anything that she's got new coming out. I know she just announced, I think she just announced she's got some new courses coming out on some stuff. Hey, when that comes out, like, share it with people, because not only are you helping her as a way of saying thank you, but you're actually helping your entire country, because that's what she is focused on, is helping the Philippines. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I will tell you that has rocked my world is that when I met Phoebe Rotacchio and started working with her, I would say I had a bit of a negative view of having a non-US country as a client. So not that I didn't have a negative view of a non-US country working for me, but I had a negative view of me trying to offer a product or service to a non-US country, meaning probably a like somewhere in Southeast Asia or something like that. Because I thought, oh, maybe they can afford it, or maybe it wouldn't be the right. Let me tell you, my world has been rocked by people like Phoebe, by people like Demi, people like Adept Perdo, people, you know, that I'm meeting in the Philippines, people just like you who are watching. You have changed my mind. Like, I actually want the Philippines to be my clients, to work with me, with Rise Up Creatives, because I'm seeing how creative and hardworking and what a positive attitude and like how scrappy you are at like going, no. Like, so just so you know, like, people like Demi and Phoebe and others have changed my mind, that I will say, I don't know why I had that thought. I don't know why I was thinking this. The Philippines rocks. And I've never been there. My dad actually grew up there for part of his childhood, because his dad was in the Navy. And so he was stationed there. But I'm hoping after the pandemic, I will tell you, I've only said this to one other person, Demi. All right. I've only said this to Phoebe. But my dream is to put on a conference, a multi-day conference in the Philippines, primarily for women who are wanting to start and grow their own businesses, and that Demi and Phoebe and Vivian and Adet and Nian and all these incredible women would be the primary speakers at this event, and all these incredible Filipino women that I'm meeting would be the women who are speaking and like leading, and if I could kind of pull that together, oh, I would just love that. That would be a dream come true. So let's all say goodbye to COVID so we can do fun stuff like that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything that you do. And like I said, I owe you one. It's currently 4 a.m. there, and you really have made the time for the community. I appreciate you so much. If there's anything that I can do for you, anything at all, just hit me up or hit Rebecca up. We'll find a time for that one. No matter, regardless how busy I am, I really will make time for you. That's a promise. And thank you so much for being here. So there you have it, guys. Let's say goodbye to David, and we hope we see David again very soon. And yeah, that's it for tonight's live video. See you on the next one. Bye.